Okay, there we go. We are live. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to our regular Tuesday hangout. This is the Tat Chat. My name is Nick. If you're new to the channel, I'm a reseller. I sell stuff. You may see a few items around me. I'm here. It's just myself and good friends Zahir today. Do you want to say hello, Zahir?
Hi everybody. I'm sorry, I'm just gathering myself, getting everything sorted. Been a bit of a, even though you know what time it starts, just bad organisation. That's all.
Yeah, we've both been a little bit busy. I was saying to Zahir
Yeah.
before we went live, I've had a pretty dead day, and then a bunch of orders came in with about half an hour to go before last post, and it was like, great. And it's the last second class shipping day, and it's like, so I had to get all of those out. So we don't have any other guests, partly because I was running late to get people invited, and also because people are busy. People have lives. What's that about?
I know, right? It's
Yeah.
just wrong. It's just wrong. No, it's hopefully we'll have a little busy spell because it's been quiet for us today. I mean, I literally just the reason I got delayed is like I was saying to you, just been dealing with a customer question that could hopefully turn out to be a nice sell, but there's no guarantees. But when someone messages you, you've got to really I find getting back on it as soon as possible is the best thing, really, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think, yeah,
Makes
responding
a
to
huge
questions
difference.
about orders, particularly at this little window of time before Christmas, that could be the
Yeah.
difference between was it an expensive RC?
Yeah, I mean, if the sale goes through, it'll be a nice sale. It'll be like a two. Wait, it would be around 200 and what have I offered? 215, 220 quid, something like that.
Wow.
But that's if it goes through. So there's
Yeah.
no guarantee. Yeah. So
That would be awesome. That would make your day, that would, wouldn't it?
it would, yeah, it would be nice because yeah. Other than that, we've just sold like a battery and a clutch bell, and that's it. So it's could do with it.
Well, I've kind of dropped this topic on you. I've given you no time to prepare. I thought because this will probably be the last chat of this year. I'm not sure how it's going to work over Christmas and in between New Year. So
I think a little break wouldn't be. I
yeah,
mean, it depends really, but yeah.
yeah, we may get together with a bunch and do like a little Christmas Price is Right if we can find a date to suit. But I think chat wise, regular ones, this might be the last one. So it's a good opportunity to just take a look back at the year. And I was just thinking, I don't really plan in business. If you followed our channel for a while, you'll probably realize we're very take it as it comes, see what happens, and sort of go with the flow. So I don't really look forward and plan particularly, but I do enjoy looking back and seeing where we've come from. And I think we've both had quite interesting years, and I don't think they panned out as we expected. So I thought I'd ask you, did you plan things this year, and what's happened? Did that align with what you thought might happen at all?
It's a good topic actually, Nick. I've got to say that like you guys, planning is difficult because of the nature of how we find stock. Like the lifeblood of all our businesses is obviously finding good inventory, and because we're not in the market for like new goods which are on tap by suppliers, wholesalers, whatever, it's so difficult to say that you're going to plan a year to turn out a certain way because you literally don't know what the situation is. I would never have thought that by the end of this year we would literally look at ourselves as selling 95 to 99% radio control car parts. It just would never have occurred to me out of all the niches. If anything, my thought at one point was I would get into like vintage electronics a bit because I like that stuff. I've always had a passion for it. The store would go that way. I was picking up a few of those types of items and doing well with them. But I never would have thought actually that's all going to go out the window, and we're just going to be selling tons and tons and tons of radio control car parts. We just never thought it would happen, and you can't you can't really account for it.
No. So the stock and the opportunities have led your business essentially.
Completely, yeah. I mean, we didn't know how much it was going to influence it as we thought. I mean, it's been mind blowing. Obviously there's been ups and downs as well. Like we have had the sad situation where Beck has had to go back to work.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Yeah,
about how that impacted. Before we move on to that, actually,
yeah, sure.
I didn't say hello in the chat.
Yeah, sure.
Just going to scroll back. There's a bunch of people in. We've already got over 100 in. So welcome, everybody. You've probably seen from the title, if you've just joined us, we're just going to have a bit of a casual chat, a look back at our years in reselling. I also want to touch on a few of the things we got up to on YouTube and some of the events that we took part in. But first in today was Peter. Welcome, Peter, and Karin. Stephen Bennett's there. There's Adrian. Welcome. Richard Hale. There's Alan Chelsea there. So welcome, everybody. If you do have any questions or anything you want to share about your year in reselling, or maybe what you're planning for next year, if you do plan, drop them in. We'll try and keep an eye on that. Let me scroll down to the end. Lots of people saying hello. Hi, Jason. John Morris, welcome. Lex is in. Hey, Lex. Lex says, how are all my favorite people, Anzi?
Oh, hi there. Hi, Lex.
You get a special mention.
Oh, superb.
So yeah, welcome everybody. So yeah, I was going to ask you actually, a big thing that I don't think either of you and Beck predicted was that you would take the decision for Beck to go back to work. How has that changed things now you've had a while with that situation?
It's obviously been really tough, more for Beck obviously than me, because she's the one having to go in, and it can be really trying because, as you can imagine, if you've been like about 2 years at home working for yourself, with all the freedoms that come with it, and all the stresses, it was tough. But in hindsight, I think we both realized that maybe moving up the country and at the same time trying to hit the ground running in a completely new part of the country, and suddenly being able to come up with enough money for 2 wages, when you'd only just really gotten to the stage where you were creating a wage, kind of was a bit of a big ask. And if anything, we're actually pretty proud of how long we managed to put it off, if in a way.
Yeah.
Because it was, if you think about it, like down south, that's what the situation was. She used to work full time, I was working at home, and that way it was working fine. Then we moved and we lost the wage. We hoped that the cheaper rent would have negated the need for it, but it never quite works out like that. Life is there's always more to it. But since she's been back, it has added a lot of stability, and it has helped massively. And we're hoping it is only going to be obviously a temporary thing, and we've got plans in that sense. So even though we don't necessarily plan, when it comes to the business specifics, which sounds really terrible generally, because generally in business you're meant to have like your specific business plan, but like I said, you just don't know where your business is going to go. No, however,
I think, as you were saying, you have an overarching kind of plan of where you want to be, but as we both said before, the way we choose to operate our businesses, you can't really plan very strategic things because you don't know where the next hall is, where the next
what it is, or exactly.
I was going to ask you about Beck going back to work. Did that relieve that stress of the financial pressure, or did it add an element of stress because now Beck is working again?
It's relieved obviously a financial stress, because it's meant that we're not taking as much money out of the business as we were, because obviously her wage now completely covers like the rent, the council tax, all the big chunky bills. So it's taken all of that. We're not taking that out of the profits anymore, which has been a massive benefit, because we can now source a lot more freely, and just generally it just takes a lot of that pressure off. But there is now like I suppose a healthy pressure to now take advantage of her being back at work. Be as efficient about it as we can. We don't want to end up with just being comfortable, because at the end of the day, we didn't move all the way up here just to have a standard lifestyle. We do want to have the situation where we're both running businesses. So that's still the overarching goal. But it's now added that pressure that we want to be as efficient as possible. And I think partly that's why it's kind of, that kind of ties in with things like being off of the internet a lot more now than I used to be. And I've got to say that's helped, because it just means you can focus that much more and get more stuff done basically. And hopefully it will be a situation that, we can keep under control, because the last thing we want is, as you can grow into your money, and you become comfortable with it, and then you don't want to end up a couple of years down the line and still having the same situation. You want to have progressed.
It is very easy to just spend the extra that you earn.
Yeah.
And just like you say, that's a good
Yeah.
phrase, like you grow into your money or grow
Yeah.
into your earnings and just spend it as it comes. But
Yeah.
it's one of the hardest things that we found when we were back in your situation, trying to get on the property ladder, for example, and do those things, to put money away and to just pile it up over there. It's not easy. It takes discipline, and that was hard for us. And I don't envy you guys being in that position to try and climb that mountain. I was just going to touch on, you talked about how you didn't get your phone.
I think so, yeah.
We took a strangely similar path to you in that we got a massive haul that we didn't predict.
Yeah.
I would have never even imagined I would have got into car parts. And it's odd that you're in RC parts, little miniature ones, and then we got into full-size car parts with this haul. And we did kind of plan what we wanted to do with that. My plan was to have it all listed by now, and then in the new year, what was left, have a huge sale and then job lot it. I nowhere near kept to that. We did really well, and I had loads of energy for it for the first sort of half of the year, made loads of money on it, and then my enthusiasm completely petered out, and I still have about a third to a half of it unlisted in December, when I plan to job lot and get rid of it after. It's not going to happen, basically. And now, as you know, we've bought this, so we're just piling, stock on top of stock, which is, if you know much about our history, that's just how we've operated over the years. We never quite get to that nirvana of having a very slim stock holding. We never really, have everything listed. That's like this crazy over the rainbow idea for us. So I didn't stick to the very, very loose plan I had for that stock. But
I think it's difficult though when you buy in job lots like that. You inevitably do want a break from them. It's very difficult to just work through one job lot. Even though technically you could have a couple of months work there just doing nothing, but you're not going to be productive or efficient doing that, because you're going to be bored out of your brain. And I think it's only natural to do that, because we find the same. Sometimes you just want to do something different. So sometimes you just want to, and also there is always that whole side thing where you can be like, okay, at least I've got the stock there. If I ever need to, I can just sit down and list it all, or it's that cushion, isn't it, I suppose.
Yeah, and I managed to just about squirrel it all away, so it was out of sight and out of mind. And then the summer came, and we went on quite a few yard sale trails and got really excited about new stock. And then we had our trip to America, and I never got back on the horse with listing after that, really. And then, yeah, it's just run away from me. So I think I say this quite often, I'm going to get much more pragmatic about how many items I'm going to list per week, and really knuckle down next year, which never quite panned out this year. But we'll see. I really need to, because we have a huge task with this now. I'm just going to dip in the chat. There was a few comments coming in. Where was it? I think it was Karen was saying. Yeah, Karen is in. Hi, Karen. I think it's really hard to predict a certain degree, as we are all opportunists. And that's exactly what we were saying, really. We kind of have to follow where the stock takes us, which sounds really loose and a strange way to run a business, but
it doesn't sound very business-like. I think it sounds, because you think that you should have, like a forecast or something of, and like, where are you going? Where do you see yourself? And I think unless you've got a very, very steady supply of a certain stock, and I think really that more does apply to people that deal with new stuff. If you're dealing with, end of line, even if you're dealing with secondhand stock, if you're dealing with job lots, or if you're dealing with end of line, even, you don't know what you're getting. So even if you're buying new stuff, but it's end of line stuff, or like liquidation, or just stuff that other companies can't sell that you fancy your chances at, you still are not going to have that kind of steadiness, because you don't know what your next lot of
No, and also interestingly, even big businesses that do deal in stock from wholesalers, or even manufacture their own stock, they have all these predictions, etc. But we've all seen the news about ASOS this week and how they are struggling. They're one of the biggest online clothing retailers, and they've struggled, and all their predictions were completely way off. So,
Yeah.
you know, even big businesses that can order exactly what stock they want, they'll know exactly what they'll be
Know
selling
what the
next time.
fashion is. They know what what people want.
Nothing is predictable in business. Certainly not in our line of business. But even what I'm trying to say is, even those established mainstream businesses, they're just making it up. They don't really know what's happening next year.
It's still, there's still always that risk, isn't there? There is always that risk. I don't think there's ever a way that you can just get around it, you know.
Ryan says, never get to Nirvana, but never mind.
Very funny.
Cohen's in. Hey, Cohen. I still have a load of cameras. I'll put them on auction in a couple of weeks. I think I've realized I don't like selling cameras. I don't know if you remember, she picked up a really nice haul, great big haul of vintage cameras.
Yeah.
And I think Cohen's just found that isn't for her. And that's another thing that happens. You don't really know how you're going to get on with a haul until you really dive into it and find out that perhaps you really can't stand car parts. And that's not the case for me. I do quite enjoy it. I just got really sick of it.
I mean, no, it's completely true, because it's when you start digging through and you start really learning. I mean, it's kind of like a real learning experience when you get a job lot of something, because you're suddenly faced with such a big variety of stuff. There is a lot of learning to be done. So, for example, you know, just because radio control cars sell well doesn't mean all types of them sell well, doesn't mean that all brands of them sell well. And just because radio control cars sell well, I don't know what boats are going to be like until I've dipped my toe in with boats and find out how it turns out, you know. You just don't know. And again, within boats, how do I know what styles of boats it's sought after, or parts, you know, which parts people want, which brands? There's so many variables, and sometimes it is just luck that you can just get lucky, I suppose, with, you know, obviously you make your own luck by taking the chance on a haul, but sometimes you might find that the bits of the haul that you weren't expecting to be profitable or as profitable turn out to be the most profitable, and vice versa. That can happen. I mean, you can just find things that, you know, you might have bought a haul based on one thing, but it turns out that actually that thing over there turned out to be where all your money was.
In fact, I would say that is almost always the case. In my limited experience of big hauls, we've had, I don't know, X amount over the years. It's almost always the unexpected thing that sells fast, sells for really good return on investment, and you just can't predict it at all.
It's like the bottles, wasn't it? When the bottles in that haul that you bought chucked in at the end, almost as in,
I didn't want them.
Yeah, you actually didn't want them, and it turned out
they buy the bottles essentially to get everything,
just because you wanted the space. Yeah,
I had to buy these 400 odd bottles, and I was like, oh my god,
what
really?
Do these bottles?
It turns out I was selling some at 20 quid each. I sent a load up to Amazon, and they just flew off the shelves. It was like, there were a lot that were really sticky, and I ended up having to job lot the last few. But
overall, exactly.
Also in that van load, there was weird things like little skull caps for cyclists to put on under their helmets to keep their heads warm. They were just kind of slung in, and I was selling those at, I think I had about 30 or 40, and I ended up selling them at £15 each.
And like like guitar things and stuff, all kinds of stuff that
just selling them every day in, day out. They were selling. Yeah, it was weird. And the stuff that I thought was really good, like some of the computer games, were absolute dog crap. You know,
I mean, it's the same what happened with our haul when we, you know, my eyeballs were all on the die-cast cars and models and model kits.
I remember,
and those things just hung around comparatively.
And you start to resent those elements of hauls because you just see the boxes there day in, day out. And it's like, why does nobody want this? And you just end up really resenting them. Oh, I do.
No, completely. I ended up just getting rid of a lot of that stuff, just because I didn't want to look at it anymore. And then, you know, it was just, that's just how it works. Definitely.
Let's have a look in here. Yeah, Richard Payne was saying, hi, Richard, how are you? Hard to stay motivated listing when you have a big haul to work through. It is, and thankfully with the new haul, and I'm going to be chatting tomorrow with, my mind just went blank. what's his name? Luke, with Luke, who I bought it all off. So yeah, if you're around, stay tuned for that. The beauty of this haul is it's a complete variety because it's somebody else's complete inventory, and he was a generalist. He'd learned from a lot of different YouTubers and from himself. So he had a really good eye, and there's some lovely stuff in here. I was just showing Zahir before we went live, but I dug these out, Dungeons and Dragons. It's the sort of stuff that I get excited about. So this isn't going to bore me, thankfully, but the car parts really did, because there's only so many times you can look at a different sort of spark plug and be interested, you know, like, or an air filter. I listed about 100 different types of air filter. And I don't care who you are, that is not interesting. They sell, but it's, yeah, dull as you like. M Mass just asked me there, have you discovered any new gems from the haul? Yeah. I'm going to start trying to do little on our Sunday shows, just share bits and bobs from the haul, because I think that'd be really interesting. As I go through it and do a little bit of research and learn about a certain item, we're going to share them on Sunday. So I'll do that way, I think. Let me just scroll through to the end. Oh, we're buffering again, apparently. We're frozen.
Oh, no.
Buffering, spinning circle of death. I can't really do anything about that.
Yeah, it might be worth refreshing. Let me have a look at it on. I've only got the chat open. I haven't actually got the page open. Let me just have a look and see what's crack-a-lacking. Yeah, it's not.
Are we completely off?
Yeah, it's just spinning on my screen. There's a blank screen. So, oh wow. Doesn't look. Yeah, it's just. I don't know,
because I can't really.
Yeah, we're still showing as live and on the Hangout, so we're still broadcasting. But I'm guessing it's just not. Internet is yeah, it's gone.
Huh.
Yeah, now it's just hold on, now it's.
I'm showing as my Wi-Fi is at full strength.
Yeah, no, your internet's working fine. It's yeah, like look at our signal's perfect. It's like smooth. The picture quality is good. Unfortunately, it just looks like when you go on YouTube. Let me try it on my phone. Try on the phone.
We could just restart and finish up on another stream.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying, isn't it? It's a good topic as well.
Yeah, we'll do that. I've got a few more bits to talk about.
Yeah, it's nice to actually look back on things. You're right. Why the hell is it doing this? That's really weird, isn't it?
They're saying it's frozen on me and I look like I'm sneezing.
It's always a classic when it pauses at like these really weird moments and you just look. It's kind of like the old, was it David Miliband they caught with the old bacon sandwich? Remember that?
Yeah.
That was such a class. I felt so bad for it. Yeah, it's just frozen. Yeah.
How would you like
the adverts? The weird thing is the advert has played fine. Okay, the advert has played fine, and then it just gives me that. Yeah.
All right. I'll end this. Yeah. I'll drop you a link. We'll just
try again. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Right.
All right, then, mate. See you in a moment.
Will do.